Hello grade 4, how are you? I hope for you to be fine. Today we will learn how to measure the mass. But first, let's review what is the mass. Okay, what is the mass? Remember with me now. Suppose that we have a ball, and this ball is a matter, right? We will consider that this ball is one matter, okay? It is one matter. Now if we have a lot of balls, here we have 9 matters, right? The summation of these balls will be a lot of balls. We have here a box that has a lot of balls, contains a lot of balls. The summation of all balls, the summation of all matter is the mass. So the mass is the amount of matter. We suppose that one ball, it is one matter. So the summation of these balls is the mass. So the mass is the amount of matter that the object contains. Here, the mass is the amount of balls which are matter contained in this box. All matter in the life consists of a small balls. Okay, all matters in the life consist of small balls like these, which are called atoms. Okay, so the atoms are something like small balls that compose the matter. All matter have atoms. The one ball is called atom, and this is the atom that is the smallest matter in the life. Okay, it is the smallest part of the matter. The summation of all atoms is the mass. Okay, each atom has a mass, which is the amount of matter, which is one matter. All atoms are the mass. So the mass here is the amount of atoms in this gold bar. Okay, now the bottle here, we have a lot of bottles. Okay, the bottle that has low amount of matter, it has a lower mass, and the one that has high amount of matter, it has a higher mass, which means high matter, high mass, low matter, low mass, because the mass is the amount of matter. Now, what is the difference between matter and weight? All people think that the mass is the same of the weight, but it is not. The mass is the amount of atoms, the amount of matters, how much atoms or how much matter there are in the object. For example, the mass of you is how much you there is in you. But this is the mass. Okay, if we return to this iron ball, the amount of matter is the mass. How much matter, how much atoms is the mass. But the force that pulled this ball downward is the weight. This force is because of the gravity. Is created due to the gravity. So the force created due to the gravity of the earth is the weight. So your weight is the force that pull you downward to the earth. So the mass is the amount of matter in the object, and the weight is the force that pulls the mass downward. Okay? So they are not the same. Mass is amount of matter, and weight is the force due to the pulling of this matter downward. To clarify the difference between mass and weight, we should know that the mass is constant, it doesn't vary, whereas the weight, it varies according where you are. For example, if you are on the earth and your mass is 120 kilogram, your weight is 120 kilogram times 10. Whereas if you were in the moon or on the moon, your mass is still 100 kilogram, 120 kilogram, whereas your weight will be less. So the weight varies according where you are, but the mass is constant. Now, how to know the amount of mass or the amount of matter? How to know the mass? To know the mass, we should use a balance and standard masses to compare them. This is an old balance, okay? Here, to know the mass of these fruits, we should compare them to a standard mass like this here, okay? When the balance is in the equilibrium, so this mass equal this mass, and here we can know the mass of the object we want. There are also modern balances that can give us the mass without comparing it with another mass. For example, this apple here is 85 grams, and this coin here is 5.6 gram. It tells us what is the amount of matter directly. But wait, can you repeat? 5.6 grams. What is this G? What is gram? Gram is the unit of the mass. To know how much mass, we should use a unit. To know how tall are you, we say, for example, you are 160 centimeter. But the mass is measured in kilogram, which is equal to 1000 G or 1000 gram. So the unit of the mass, the international unit of the mass is kilogram, which is equal to 1000 gram. So let's review. The mass is the amount of matter in the object. The weight is the force that pulls the mass downward. The unit of mass is 1 kilogram or kilogram, which is equal to 1000 grams. Thank you, grade 4, for your attention. I hope for you to be safe. Please watch the video many times to understand it, and don't hesitate to ask me if you have any question. Goodbye.